welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, this is a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Dory, Apula Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Petal. Hope you all are having a great day. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you're doing fun stuff, getting out, smelling the roses, and oh no, I'm just looking outside. I was about to say it's a beautiful sunshiny day, and I'm about to go after this and play tennis. And I look out, and there are clouds. Oh, like what happened to the sunshine? So I'm like in the moment now, feeling that I'm just really like depressed. I was literally about to say this, and I happened to look outside, and all the beautiful sunshine that was just there is now gray. I don't like the color gray. Now it's all gray. Oh, bugger. I hope it doesn't rain, because I really want to go play some tennis. And so you're feeling my disappointments in the moment. But anyway, that's me. Hope you're having a better time of it, and your day is nice and bright and sunshiny. Hello, just want to say hello to all my awesome friends in the chat, and also to our other friends who are not in the chat but they're hanging out with us. So welcome, welcome. Hi, Fancy, and allegedly Shady Shannon. Hello, I see myself in the chat, and Glenn, and Joyce, and Dale, and Alma, and Cookies and Cream, our awesome moderator, and Janet, and Dale. Oh, Dale, wait, I said you already. And Mad World. Hello, Mad World. And Lisa, and Verda, and Emily. And who else is here? Oh, Compton Caligal. Hey, how's it going out there? Is it sunshiny? I hope it's more sunshiny than it is in New York at the second. That I hope for you. Let's see who else is here. Oh, Nola Thando is here, and Jacqueline, and Catalina, and Karen Emma, awesome moderator, is here. Let's see, Black Queen, and oh, the August Ladybug Chatter podcast. Hi, hello, welcome. I hadn't seen you here before. Welcome. I always love to have new friends here. Let's see, Crazy Tracy Trekker. Hello, and Karen Warner is here. Hello, Karen Warner, and Tara, and Faithful 01. Who else is here? Oh, Sharon Davis is here. Hello, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So again, hope you all are having a great time of it. And in spite of all the madness, that if you're on social media, whatever platforms you use, again, I only really use Twitter for royal anything. And I'm to think of it, I haven't really even been on my other social media platforms at all. I have literally been neglecting it. So I need to change that. Twitter is my thing. And then when Christopher Boozy's Spoutable comes, I will be abandoning Twitter, at least on a daily basis, I guess. And most likely would be just doing Spoutable, because I'm so over the trolling stuff. I'm so over the negativity of Twitter. I'm like, ooh, Spoutable cannot get here soon enough. So I am so done and ready for a change. And so it'll be good. And all the things that, I wanted on Twitter, i.e. it an edit button, will all be there. You can delete crazy tweets and hateful tweets. You can block. I mean, Spoutable is going to be good. So I'm looking forward to be able to do that. So let's see who else is here. Catherine is here. Hello, Catherine and Rosa. And I think I see. Oh yeah, Kitsendor is here. Hello, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, she says, hello, everyone. Keep Cali in your thoughts. They're predicting freezing temps starting early Saturday till Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. Man, you can't get your break. Oh, my goodness. So, definitely bundle up, get your coats and your sweaters out. And so that way, you're not too badly affected by this. It's just from one thing to another. And Robert is here. Hello, Robert. He's jumping in from Rome at 17:15. It's dark and pouring, cats and doggies. Oh, my goodness. So I think all over now we're getting this crazy weather. So, take care, Rob. Now, too much pouring to be out, out in at the wine bar. So hope you're nice and cozy indoors, feet up and hanging out. So I am happy you are here hanging out from Rome. So anyways, guys, oh, let's see. Vetty says, hi, hiya, Pedal, and everyone from the very cold Birmingham, UK. I've got 15 pages left to read of Spare. Hey, happy reading there. Happy reading, Vetty. She's got 15 pages. It's so funny. I go back and forth between reading in the book and then the audio. I love the audio. I started because I obviously, like, me, I never read from front to back on anything. And so I started in the back, and then from when he met Meghan through the end. And so that I just wanted to hear in my own voice. I didn't even want to hear Harry's voice. I just wanted to hear my own voice as I'm reading it. And so I started with reading it myself, and then from the front I did the audio. I love Harry doing the audio. Oh my goodness. Gives you such a different sense of it. And just, he did such a great job with this. I was like, Harry's an actor. I'm like, I would not be surprised if Harry starts getting movie offers. I really would not be surprised, or at least voiceover things. He is really good at this. He really, and that's one of the things a lot of people have said. They really just, the audio is just amazing. Him, narrating a story is just, he just literally puts you right in there where he is. And, I wouldn't be surprised. I think he can have a great future if he chooses to, whether it's as an actor or as a talk show host or something. But he is really good at this, or just, voiceover for books or something, narrating books or something like that. He is really, really good. So, he could go any direction he chooses to, apart from doing his charity work. So the guy's talented. He's good. And so, but let's see. So thank you, Vetty. Enjoy the read. Enjoy your final 15 pages. So as we know, Spare is number one. And of course, as the Squatties, we of course will be celebrating both of the number one selling authors in House Sussex. And it is just so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful to see, and then you put in there together a cookbook that I think it got to about number 6 on the New York Times bestseller, and to know, it is just, oh my gosh, I could only imagine how proud they must be in feeling about this, and also too, I would think you're in two minds about it, because you're proud of it. You did this, and you put your heart and your soul into it, and you were able to create something. And there's not been, among legitimate, whether it's just regular folks talking about it or legitimate, credible reporters or reviewers who actually read the book, there's not been one negative, like, oh, this is not well written or anything. Some people may feel, some people feel like, well, maybe this is TMI, or maybe I don't know about this part, might be a little bit, too much of a private stuff to disclose or whatever. But there has not been anyone who's actually read the book that said that this book is badly written, or nothing like that at all. That's the one thing everyone is agreed, has been in complete agreement with. This is a great book. It is well done. It is really well written. The audio has been amazing. Whatever you think, whatever side of, you think about, whether, hate Harry or love Harry, or, are in favor of the UK royals or not. The one thing you can't say about the book is that it was not well done. And so many people's minds have changed, or at least they understand now Harry's point of view and Meghan's point of view of why, how they were feeling and why they really needed to get out of that toxic situation. So it's really good to see. And and again, you're of two minds, because were I in their situation, it would definitely be where it's just like, it's a great work and all, you put your heart into it, but again, that's your life story, and it came out of pain, and it came out of just trauma and all of those things. So to share that, it's like putting your heart, literally having your heart walk outside of your body that anyone could stomp on, and that description was one of our friends. She talked about that's the first time I heard that description, that really helped me so much to understand how sensitive stuff like this is. She talked about when her daughter, I think she was a teenager, and she was the first time sending her daughter away because her daughter went off to do some charity work in another country, and the terror that she felt and the fear, and she said it was like having her heart walk outside of her body, that anyone could trample on, kidnap, steal, do something to, and there's nothing she could do about it. And so I've always used that analogy for me as a way of when you put your heart out there and you put something so personal and so, deep and yeah, in every way out there, people could take it any way they wish and they could trample on it. And there's nothing you can do. And it's kind of like having your heart outside of your body, and there's nothing you could do to stop however people's reaction to it. So I can only imagine just, even feeling a bit traumatic. And it's like trauma just from that situation. So but either way, it was a choice they made to put it out there. And so I hope that, they are having their moment of just peace. And of course, we haven't seen them since Harry's promo is over. I hope they take as much time away from, everyone as possible. And I mean, if I don't see them for months from now, I wouldn't be surprised. It would be what I would do. I would stay far away, because there is nothing the press would want more than, to overexpose you and then to attack. This is whether it's a US or British press, is one of the things they love to do. They love to build you up and then knock you down. And one of the easiest way they do it is just like overexpose, and then the backlash on the other end of it. So if I don't see them for a very long time, I would be, for their sake, for me, it would be like, yeah, protect yourself from all of this. Don't, because they would expect them to want to, buy into all of the attentions, which is what they are thinking. And so I just want them to be safe and away from all of this, and just be at peace and enjoy the fact that their work is successful, their work is good, it is incredible quality, good, it is original, it's incredible, and that's why people are just lapping it up, because their work is good. It's not just because they're royals. Their work is really, really good. So I really, really love this. And also love that now the New York Times have posted about it. Obviously, it's #1 combined print and ebook. Nonfiction, obviously, as you can see there, #1. And then you can see the TV Khaleesi posted this. You can see on the right there, who she's a squatty, and so she had this, and she's like, #1 bench, #6 together, and #1 spare. So the New York Times bestsellers. So it is. I'm so proud of them. I know all squatties are celebrating. So it is just, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful to see. And not only that, CP24 and everyone else have been reporting this out. Prince Harry's memoir Spare sells 3.2 million copies in the first week. Prince Harry's Spare has sold more than 3.2 million copies worldwide after just 1 week of publication, and will rank among the best-selling memoirs of all time. Penguin Random House announced Thursday that Prince Harry's headline-making memoir sold 1.6 million copies in the US alone. It it's a number comparable for first week sales to blockbusters such as the former President Barack Obama's Promised Land and former First Lady Michelle Obama's Becoming, which sold more than 1.7 million copies since coming out in 2018. I'm sorry, sold more than 17 million copies since coming out in 2018. The British publisher announced last week that Spare sold 400,000 copies in the United Kingdom in all formats, hardback, ebook, and audio. On its first day, that has actually gone up to like 750,000, I think. The total sales announced for Spare are for print and audio and digital editions in the major English language markets, the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. The books have gone out to 15 other languages, and editions in 10 additional languages are expected. And again, those numbers are only for English language. So, and again, it's gone out to 15 different languages. So who knows what that will tally up to. But Spare is doing amazing. It is doing amazing. And again, the best-selling memoir of all time. I mean, it's just like, hello, And of course, because of all this is happening, the UK are like, but they're the polls. And it's just like, what kind of nonsense is this? And it's very funny to watch. The only thing they have, and I was just like, I'm just going to leave them to their polls. There are many polls that Americans have no interest in unless you're a politician. It's just like the most stupid thing I have ever seen in my entire life. They are so desperate for Harry and Meghan, for people to not like them, for them to be unpopular. And it's just like, and I had to say to a friend that it's like, the UK and the US doesn't quite function like the UK. Popularity polls work in the UK, I guess, because especially in terms of royal, if the people don't want you there and you're not popular, you will cease to exist, because if nobody wants a royal family, they will cease to exist. That's why they have tabloids trying to spin all kind of nonsense to make them, popular. In the US, that doesn't work. And it's just like, you could do 1 million polls in the US for 2 private citizens all you want. It doesn't affect anything. I mean, if popularity polls affected someone from being successful, then how do you, it's like Donald Trump is one of the most, unpopular people, at least on the, the left. Unpopular people doesn't stop him from being successful with his right-wing crazy people. Jeff Bezos is like unpopular as ever. Doesn't stop him from being, making millions and doing his stuff. Mark Zuckerberg is one of the most unpopular people. Elon Musk, unpopular in so many quarters. It doesn't stop Americans from doing this stuff. It's just like, and so I'm like, you're doing a poll for 2 private citizens that are paying their taxes and are not affecting anybody's life. I mean, it's just the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And I think when you have nothing else to throw at someone, you come up with some fake poll about a country who has over 300 and something million people, and you poll 2,000 people from a country again of over 300 and something million people and claim America doesn't like Harry and Meghan, they're not popular. And it's just like, this, you're just being stupid. So it's very funny. I'm just like, I'll just leave you all to your polls. But it's very, very, very funny. Anyways, and these are some of, and I love to, just random people on Twitter, not squaddies at all. I just love to get people's feedback on just their take of Spare. And I'm gonna move a little banner in the bottom there. Again, if you're new here and you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell so that you know when we drop a video. I'll bring back our banner later. But I love just checking out what people on Twitter just are saying about the book. Sophia A. Nelson, I think she's like a reporter, I think. She says, I can't put it down. It's powerful. It's brave. Prince Harry's memoir. Robin says, I'm halfway through Spare, and I was probably in the stop whinging, you're born into stupendous wealth camp. But now I realize that money and privilege means nothing, and I'm really sad for him and glad he's found freedom. Stacy Wilson says, 5 stars. This book is engaging, sad, honest, self-reflective. Prince Harry holds himself accountable, and that's why he has grown. He is not perfect, and he admits it. He loved this book. His voice on the audible version is A+. LA Times Opinion says, letters to editor, looking for a role model? Read Prince Harry Spare. Lindsey Graham fainting. I love some of the names on Twitter. She says, or he says, I'm loving every word of Spare by Prince Harry. It's beautifully written. No wonder sales are through the roof. Hashtag Meghan Markle. Like, what does Meghan have to do with this? Cynthia Thornton says, in the words of his beloved wife, Meghan, this is a man, not a spare. Congratulations, Prince Harry. And Mimi Use Your Voice says, I've been listening to the audiobook, hearing his story in his own words with his voice has intensified my respect for this bold, honest young man who very much is Diana's son. I have sons almost exactly William and Harry's age, and I know that, like Harry, they would defend their wives. And so these are just some of the, and there are lots and lots more. These are just a few. It's just what fits on the page. And so I love that. I love that random people and also a lot of, reporters and different people reviewing. It just, again, no one has said like, oh my God, this is a bad book. It's a horror. Nothing. I have not seen that at all. Of course, you come across the Rangers who haven't read the book and they've just gone by what the tabloids have said. And of course, they would. But again, from credible people, this is some of their reaction that you will find. So I absolutely love that people are having this kind of a feel, and and it must be, I don't know. Again, I don't know if Harry and Meghan, their team are on Twitter or they're on whatever social media and are seeing some of these responses, but I hope they do, because it must warm their heart to see like, oh wow, people are finally understanding who they are and what they're about, and that has to really make you, warm your heart, I think, so it's good. I am going to jump in the chat for a second and see what you guys are saying, and then we'll come back to other stuff that that's going on. Let's see. Lottie said, oh, she's talking to Verda. That's another part of that made me sad. I don't care what people think about him. Harry's a real man to be so young. Okay, so that's kind of part, I guess, of a conversation. That I don't know. That's what happens when you jump into conversations. Let's see. I'm going to jump in and see what you all are saying. And Betty says, she's talking to Lottie. And when she was prosecuted by the media, no support from his so-called royal family, he was alone in fighting. And although she's talking to Lottie, I agree. Yep, they were very much alone in so many ways. Let's see. Joyce, hello, Joyce. Joyce says it's not a popularity contest with Harry and Meghan. It's all about projects and their completion of their project and the results. Exactly. A lot of the UK, especially UK press, would like people to believe they're only successful because they're royals. They're only successful. But royals have done a lot of different projects that have not been successful at all. Case in point, Prince William and his Earthshot mess. If it was about being royal, then his Earthshot mess would be a lot more successful. In fact, it wouldn't bomb, which is always bombing. If it was about being royal, I mean, this man is next in line to the throne, and he can't get but 4.1 million people of his, what, 50 something million people or 60 million people in the UK to care about his Earthshot mess. You know what I mean? I mean, less people in the US is like, okay, whatever, you're in Boston, whatever. If it was about, you know, just doing people, your projects being successful, because you're royal, then Kate Middleton's Christmas thing that she's done the last couple of years would actually be successful, and it hasn't been. If it was, I mean, William has done other documentaries and stuff about environment and stuff, and again, if it was about just because you're royal, then those things would be successful, and they have not been. We think about even Prince Edward doing his thing, when he had a production company. If it was because you're royal, if that was the thing, then those things would also be successful. Other people have also written books, Sarah. Fergie has written books, other royals have written books and have done different shows, whatever. Again, if it was about being royal, then those things would be successful, even when the Queen was alive. If it was just about being, her speeches and all of those things would be more successful. And they haven't been. And so Harry and Meghan, their project is their stuff. Yes, they do have, the title of royalty. They are that. But their work, the things that they have turned in, have actually been good. You think of whether it's her Meghan's podcast Archetypes, or Harry and Meghan, or Invictus Games, and now the Heart of Invictus is going to be coming, or Live to Lead, or Spare, all of these things. I mean, or The Bench, or Together Cookbook, all of these things have been excellent. And that's why they're selling. That's why people are gobbling up. That's why people are talking about it. It is not just because they're royal, so that, their royal stuff could only be for so long. If you're not turning in projects that are, that are original, that catches people's eye and catches people's heart, you're just not going to be successful, and they've managed so far to turn in really good work, and hire the best people to be able to help them to produce good work. And so far, it has paid off for every single person that they have been working with, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Netflix, whether it's, Penguin Random House. They have really paid off. So nobody could complain that, oh, wow, we signed them to big contracts and it's not paying off. Everybody thinks that they've done with these companies have been hits. So there you go. They are putting in the work. So, Ruth Lopez says Harry writes beautifully. He has the soul of a poet, and he's romantic. Lucky Meghan. Him again. We can't also leave out his ghostwriter J.R. Moringer, who helped shape that book, and who Harry used to write that book with him. So a lot of it is both of their collaboration. Obviously, the words are Harry's and his life story, but the writing talents of J.R. Moringer is there as well. And so we can't leave him out of the equation. But together, working together, they have created something beautiful and sad and incredible and, deep in every way. So let's see. Madwell says, it seems like the polls are playing into their ego. Yes, those crazy polls. And I think that's the thing with, one would hope, that there are people among the royal family who don't pay attention to those stupid polls, but they do. They do, because they're in this ridiculous bubble to think, oh, no, the poll says and it's just like, no, go out in the real world. When you put out your projects, when you go out there, the kind of reception is a little bit better barometer as to where you stand instead of some stupid polls. And it's like, you think about even the polls in America. I mean, a lot of that was designed really for politics, which is the only place that Americans really focus on polls. They don't poll private citizens. That's stupid. But even with it really designed for politics, if you look at so many things the polls got wrong. Christopher Boozy was one of the only people that, even that this midterm election, was one of the only people that actually got right, and it had nothing to do with the polls. Were all wrong. And so it's like, if you're going by polls, they couldn't even do the things that they were designed to do. Let's more to go and poll privates. Can't get over the polling private citizens nonsense. It's like, oh my goodness, we have gotten to Idiotsville. Unbelievable. Cookies and cream, our awesome moderator, says the unroyal and racist goons need to realize that their crazy narrative about polls isn't working. It's just so stupid. It is. It is not working. It's stupid. It's just like, and again, the people that are really talking about polls are people from the British press. You see people like the Daily Mail and Newsweek reporter from the UK. I mean, that means something to them. And again, a lot of it, you realize when they start writing stupid stuff like that, is like, they don't understand Americans. They don't understand the landscape of Americans. They don't understand American geography. They don't understand anything about this country. And so they are trying to apply what they do and the things that mean something to them onto Americans. And Americans are like, what are you doing? We don't care. We really don't care. So, but it's funny watching them try, though. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Joyce, I'm back to you, says the U.S. press will not put Harry and Meghan in the news unless there's something to report in their projects. The U.K. press will keep them in the news for nonsense and try to sell newspapers and polls. Exactly. Unless they're doing something, unless their project is doing something, you don't see, again, the UK, their mainstream media is the biggest mainstream media in their mainstream media is tabloids. In the US, if you don't know the journalists, like the landscape here, it's like there's a very clear line between tabloids and mainstream press. They are not the same. They are two very different worlds. So while you may find a National Enquirer might be like, oh my gosh, Meghan had a baby with an alien, just a lot of the nonsense they have there. Or they have someone pregnant every year for 20 years. There is a clear line, of the idiocy of the UK, of the US tabloids and mainstream media. Very different things. And so the things that will fly in tabloids in the UK is not going to fly here, because it's like, that's stupid. Let's see. Oh, well, good morning, Patricia. I hope you're well. Thank you. I am well. And the sun seems to be coming back out. Oh, very good. I'm getting excited again. Maybe I could go out and play some tennis. That would be awesome. Let's see. Sylvia says the next time I want to see this beautiful couple is at the Invictus. Me too. I wouldn't mind. Let them relax and do. Again, they work in stealth, so I'm sure they're doing a bunch of other stuff that we don't know about. And hopefully one of those is Pearl. I'm still not giving up on Pearl. And so they're doing their stuff. They're doing their stuff, in stealth. Compton Caligal says their poll come from the TMZ. Yes, because TMZ is now owned by Rupert Murdoch, which is, yes. If it's you'd expect that, say, TMZ and also the New York Post. They're all Rupert Murdoch entities, which they all take from the UK. And so expect to see this nonsense there. But on the regular, Americans don't pay attention to stupid polls, especially when you're talking about two private citizens who have no effect on your life. It's ridiculous. So let's see. Going down. Black Queen says Cult Island is a hot mess and they're sinking in a cesspool of flames. Yet they stay obsessed with Harry and Meghan. Of course they are. When you look at you would think the queen is out, the king is out, the heir, the next in lines are out, and they are focused on Harry and Meghan, who are minding their business in California, doing whatever it is they're doing. But okay, whatever it is. Let's see what else I got. Oh, talk about minding their business. This has been the UK tabloids recently, and one from New Zealand. Where is Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife, missing from controversial spare interview? I'm not sure why the UK press would think that a guy's book tour would feature his wife. And like I said, these people they have no grasp on that. Yeah. The Express: Duchess blasted for uncharacteristic no-show since Spare released. Mail and Line: Sarah Vine. So, where is Meghan? She's usually grafted into Harry's site. Daniela Ellsler, the very obsessed one from New Zealand. She writes for a lot of Australian newspaper. Daniela Ellsler: the mystery of why Meghan Markle has gone missing for the past month. I'm telling you, these people are crazy. These people are crazy. Meghan is doing her podcast. And shut up, Meghan. Meghan is, they're doing, Meghan is going off and doing her, that thing she did in Indianapolis with the women's event. Shut up, Meghan. They are in New York picking up, the Rippler was, shut up, Meghan. We don't want to see you. And then Meghan's like, doing whatever she's doing. And it's like, where is Meghan? Why aren't she? It's just like, UK, whatever it is you're putting in the water, y'all need to stop. Because your people are crazy. Your people are really, really, really crazy. It's like you look at them from across the pond and you're like, what? This is definitely This is like a nation of crazy people. And I feel bad for squatties in the UK who are seeing this up close and have to put up with this nonsense on the regular. I couldn't imagine. I literally couldn't imagine, walking by and seeing this mess all the time. But there we are. But anyways, Lift to Lead is there. IMG Replay, Archive in Action, Lift to Lead. This series takes a look at extraordinary leaders reflecting on their legacies and sharing messages of courage, compassion, humility, hope, and generosity. Lift to Lead is doing great on, people are still writing up about it and really inspired by it. And I saw this one post the other day of somebody like, why isn't Netflix promoting this more? It's the best docuseries out there. Hey, who am I to disagree? People are really, really loving this series and are inspired by it. And again, talk about how when Harry and Meghan do things, it's excellent. And that's why people gravitate and are soaking up everything they put out, because they put their heart into it and it's excellent. It's amazing, And talking about Lift to Lead, and again, we know that came from, the Mandela Foundation, and then they got Harry and Meghan involved in it. And so one of the things that came out, right after that came out, is the horrible headlines about Nelson Mandela's granddaughter, claiming that she basically dissed Harry and Meghan, and that she is upset that they're using his words for, in a way that is inappropriate, and she was upset about it, and the families, the whole bit. And so we talked about this on here before, and we talked about her, saying, no, that's not the truth at all, when she realized what was happening. So here she is, Angelica, I think that's how she said it, Angelica Mandela. So she wrote this article yesterday in The Atlantic, and she says, and I'm going to put a link to this in the show notes so you can read the whole article. It's not very long, but these are just two clips I got from it. She says, others take Mandela's name in vain, not Harry and Meghan. I applaud their work. the royal couple I applaud the work the royal couple does, inspired by my grandfather. I abhor those who exploit his legacy for personal gain. But by Enlika, and I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, Mandela. And she says, live to lead, a Netflix docu-series that Prince Harry and Meghan produce, cites the legacy of Nelson Mandela and its inspiration. Because he's my grandfather, I was contacted recently by an Australian newspaper for comment on this. Call me naive, but I did not suspect that I was being recruited to a press vendetta against the royal couple. I was shocked when my remarks were misused. My statement, as an obvious fact, that their struggles and my grandfather's and Harry and Meghan's are hardly identical, was turned into a slight against the couple. When I voiced my annoyance at seeing Mandela's name and legacy exploited, that too was taken to be an attack on the documentary of the couple and the couple. And then another part of it, she says, yes, it upsets me when the Mandela name or likeness is used for purely commercial purposes to sell merchandise without any benefit to the family or the charitable causes he championed. And I will always criticize such cynical profiteering. That's not what I associate with Harry and Meghan. Indeed, I welcome the inspiration they have taken from my grandfather's legacy for their social activism. I admire them for the courage of their convictions and the good causes they have espoused. Their work resonates with my grandfather's preoccupation with justice and freedom for all. And then she goes on and on. But so I'm glad she, even though she had spoken out before that was not what she was doing. I'm glad she wrote this, that it's there, that people could see. It is very, and I think and I think I brought this in, I think it was the last episode or 2 episodes ago, where the similar thing happened with this man who was a researcher for drugs, and the Daily Mail had contacted him, and he gave an interview of what he thought was a very nuanced about psychedelics and stuff like that, because Harry mentioned in the book about using that and how it had helped him, and he used it with a professional. And so they asked him, and so he thought was like in this nuanced conversation that had nothing to do with attacking Harry. The Daily Mail twisted his words to be attacking to Harry and wrote up and so he went on Twitter and was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this is what these people did with my words. And he's like, I would never do this again. And so many times you see this exact same thing, is that they groom you, basically feed you stuff, and then you respond, and then they use that to attack the Sussexes. You see that a lot with, they did the same thing with some of the vets, with Harry talking about, the Taliban and all of that stuff. They did the same thing. And so it is just, they have mastered the art of doing this. There's so many people that members of the British and Australian press, again, so that's Rupert Murdoch, Lord Rothermere, any of those, they have mastered the art of doing exactly this. They come in, they feed you stuff, groomed you, and then exploit your words to attack whomever it is they want to attack, And so this stuff is just, they have mastered the art of this. And so I'm glad she came out and spoke out about it. And again, more and more people, and I've wrote this on Twitter, people need to be a lot more aware of when reporters call you on stuff. One, who it is you're talking to. You go and you research them. You research who they are before you give them any stuff. It's literally throwing your pearls to pigs. What do they do? If you're in biblically, what it says, when you throw your pearls to pigs, they will turn around and trample you and trample your pearls. It's what they do. They trample the pearls that you've given them, and that's what they would do, and make a mess out of all of it, And then you end up being in this same position as she is in now, having to be like, no, that is not what I meant. You twisted my words and took it to mean something that it didn't. People need to be more aware of what's happening. You know, this kind of like, oh my gosh, I didn't know, that needs to stop. I mean, it's just like, this is 2023. It's time that we get a lot more smart when dealing with the press, especially, especially when it has anything to do with Harry and Meghan. Just say no. That's all you have to do. Just say no. And so, but it's, again, I'm glad she put it out there and we've been tweeting about it and stuff like that. But again, this Australian paper and Camilla Tominey wrote up all of this stuff, and then that went all over the world. And you want to know all of that went out of the world, that she attacked Harry and Meghan, that and all of that stuff that went all over the world. This is going nowhere. Nobody is going to read this, and not nobody. I mean, we've read it and are tweeting it, but the amount of people that's going to read this does not compare to the lie that was already told, because the lie is that's already gone out into the world. The truth, people don't want to hear the truth after that. So yeah, it's how this stuff works. But anyways, but I'm glad she did there and cleared it up. And actually, even before we get to this, I'm gonna jump in the chat for a second. I'm just gonna go back and forth. And yeah, so before we get to Jacinda Ardern, Alma says the UK tabloids make the news their own. They don't report true facts ever. The rut negativity makes them money there. Yeah, it's exactly it. They don't ever tell the truth, and that's why the royal family use them. They know that they will lie to people, and the royal family depends on people believing the lie and the fantasy of who they are. So that's why their royal rota is made up of mostly tabloids, because they know they will lie and spin the truth. And so it's unbelievable. Sandy Powell says the media beast and its satanic scribes must be fed. Decent folks need to be careful when we encounter them. Mayhem and M. I'm not sure what the M is for, but yeah, it's like, again, this is the year 2023. If you're in the public eye, if you're a public figure or related to a public figure, it's just was one of those things. You cannot be ignorant about these things. You cannot be naive about the press. Again, 2023, especially you're dealing with the British and Australian press, which most of them are owned by Rupert Murdoch. You cannot be naive. That is, this is the only time I would say I will give her a pass, but this happens again. No, you can't walk around in the year of the Lord 2022 and 2023 with this kind of naivety. That's ridiculous, Kathy Gabby says the Daily Fail is expert in twisting words. Similar things was done to Meghan in her private letter. Yeah, exactly. They are experts at this. They are absolutely experts at this. So again, you cannot be, when they contact you, just say no. Don't pick up. It's like, no. Don't even say no comment, because I'm sure they'll twist the no comment into comment and leave the no out. It just is how they work. Black Queen says, I keep asking, where are these tabloid rat family members? Why are they protected from harassment? Very true, right? Very true. But it's like, I think it's a culture there. It's a culture where it's like for them, harassing and bullying is part of their culture. They don't see anything wrong with it. They really don't see anything wrong with it. That's why when someone speaks out like Harry and Meghan, you would see the majority of people attack them and call them whinging, and that they are just being, they are playing the victim card. It's an abusive, I say this all the time. The British culture is an abusive culture. They are used to abuse. They take abuse and they expect the people that they abuse to take it. So when someone speak out, it's like, how dare you speak out? How dare you not take our abuse? And they protect abusers. There is just like, it's unbelievable. I mean, you look at what they're doing with Jeremy Clarkson. You see all these articles by Sarah Vine, by, Camilla Tominey and others who are writing all these articles in support of Jeremy Clarkson and attacking Meghan, the victim of Jeremy Clarkson. Why can't she accept his apology? The fake apology that he supposedly gave Meghan, that's not really an apology. They can't, because they'll accept it for themselves. They accept that a kind of abuse for themselves. So they're angry that someone who values themselves say, no, I refuse to be disrespected by you. I refuse to take your fake apology. I refuse to take your abuse. And I'm telling you, I don't understand. I don't understand the culture. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Cookies and Cream says that article by Nelson Mandela daughter need to be plastered all over social media platforms. Everyone need to know how unhinged the racist British and Australian press really are. The truth is, Cookies and Cream, people know they don't care. They know they don't care, and they don't care enough to do anything about it. The British and Australian press, this is not a secret to anybody. A lot of people, they approve of the abuse. A lot of people are apathetic. They don't care. A lot of people just feel like, oh, they throw their hand up. Oh, there's nothing I can do. I literally had a conversation with someone on Twitter where I'm like, no, you guys have to stand up against your press. You have to speak. And the excuses this girl's giving me, it was just like, I literally had to mute her. People refuse to stand up. They refuse to speak up. They refuse to stop buying it. They refuse to do anything. They're apathetic. They know what the press is. Both Australian and British, they know. They refuse to do anything about it. And so, yeah, I mean, squatties have been, posting her article all over, but I haven't seen any other, any news outlet pick it up at all, other than us posting it. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen any other outlet pick up the story at all, because the lie was just too juicy. This isn't juicy. The truth isn't juicy to them. It's not going to bring them money, so they don't pick it up, Oh, Betty, I think you're it today. I'm just jumping on you. Says she's talking to Diane. If they can't they can make any money. Oh, they can't make any money. They have to mention her somehow. If she's hanging around H at an interview, guess what they say? Of course. It's like, she's darned if she does, and she darned if she doesn't. Whatever she does, they'll complain about it. So it's like, come to Caligasa, they lie like George Santos. I'm at the point with George Santos, I'm like, is that really even his name? Do you all really know that if that George Santos is actually his name? And like, it's unbelievable. And this guy is in the US Congress. Don't ask. Compton Gallagher again says Mandela did more for South Africa in his time from jail than the Queen ever did in her 70 years of rule. I'm still under what exactly did she do? I still don't know what the Queen has done, what her accomplishment. I'm still don't know. And people always talks about all the things she's accomplished and have yet to tell me what they are. I am still waiting. I have asked that question so many times, and nobody has been able to answer that question. So yeah. Oh, hi, Lydia. Lydia, our awesome moderator, is here. Thanks. And thank you, Lydia. Thank you all for joining. Please take a moment to do a thumbs up. Yes, thank you. There are 352 people present with this, with 143 likes. Yeah, so all of you who didn't do a thumbs up, please do. And please share and subscribe. Thank you. And join our 2 cents crew. Absolutely. Thank you. Let's see. Sharon Davis says, why aren't the anti-Meghan and Harry crowd talking about Camilla or the newly crowned Princess Kate? These people have never loved, always Kate obsession. These people have a never loved, always hate obsession with Meghan. Well, they're not fans of the anti-Harry and Meghan group. They're not fans of the royal family. They're just here hating Harry and Meghan. They don't really support the royals. If they did, that's who the press would be, focused on. They don't really, the fact that their projects bomb all the time is very much tells you that they don't support them. They just come on to hate Harry and Meghan. It's unbelievable. Verda says, I had a thought and wish Mr. Tyler Perry would take Pearl and make a cartoon out of it. The children would love it. I thought the same. Verda, you and I were thinking the same thing. I'm like, why not? I don't think he has any. I mean, I haven't really paid attention to all of his content, but I don't think he has any cartoons. And I'm like, hey, I could see it. I could totally see it. I wouldn't be surprised. I will not give up on Pearl because I think it's would be fantastic. Miriam says she's backtracking. The family must have had words with her. Who knows? But she said this before when it first happened, when it first started coming out. She, Fox News had contacted her. Amazingly, Fox News was fact checking of all the outlets to fact check you. Fox News. Fox News fact checked Camilla Tomedy and the other reporter that no, because they contacted her right away and she said, no, that's not the truth at all. So she said exactly this when Fox News contacted her at the time. And so this is her writing about it now. So, again, when the whole thing happened, she did came out and say, no, that's not, they twisted my words and misrepresented it and put it in a place that's not what I meant. So she did say that. Cookies and Cream says, everyone on social media, please promote the Netflix docuseries Lift to Lead. Let's make it #1. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because everybody's mind is on Spare, obviously. But yeah, definitely. And also, Harry and Meghan's docuseries is still doing great. It's still top 10 in a lot of countries. I think it was like 18. I looked at it. It was 18. I didn't bring in the information for it there, but it's still doing great. It's, I think, probably 1.9 billion people and more probably now that watch hours that it has. I mean, Netflix, I know their CEO, or I think their CEO, their top guy just stepped down. And so Ted Sarandos, who was the co-CEO, him and another one, who they are now taking over Netflix, and they referenced Harry and Meghan docuseries as definitely one of, and the next episode I'm going to bring in more about that because the first 3 quarters they had losses for subscribers, and then amazingly enough the last quarter they have had more. I think they've got added 7 million more subscribers. I think they were expecting probably 3 or 4, and they have gotten 7 million more subscribers. And so they definitely applauded and lauded Harry and Meghan, along with Wednesday and a couple of others that really helped their subscription to grow. And so they are talking about Harry and Meghan and the great things that's happening with that. And so so that's out there and doing great as well. So again, good, really solid work that Harry and Meghan are putting out there. It's not because they are royals. Betty, you're definitely it today. I keep dropping on you. People that I refuse to discuss Harry and Meghan with gullible people, especially people of color here in the UK, because I may be arrested. There's some, I have had to check a couple of them on Twitter, and it was just like a lot of, goodness, grievances. Our people in the UK, Black people in the UK, some of y'all are, yes. One, I remember having to check one of them. She was having an attitude because she's like, how dare people blame, say that Black people in the UK didn't support Meghan and we didn't support her, when stuff was happening. And that's why she left, because and I was like, you didn't. You literally didn't. Other than the few squatties that were there, you didn't. And I had to be like, look, I personally reached out to all these reporters, with print and television reporters, who flatly said no, they would not support, they would not speak up at all. One BBC reporter, and even literally told me that they're not speaking out because they're afraid. And I was like, well, if you're afraid, why don't you band together as a group and speak out? They refused. One organization for like Black reporters blocked me, literally blocked me, because I was like, can you guys say something? And so I was like, no, you didn't. That is a fact. She didn't respond to me because I'm like, I'm like, I have proof. And if you don't believe me, ask Tina at Sussex Podcast, because we were all desperately reaching out to them, and I remember Tina and those guys really begging people to have podcasts, to speak out. A couple of them did podcasts, and I haven't heard from a couple of them in a while. Like their podcast they haven't done anything with the podcast. We were literally begging people to say something, and they were afraid. And so it just, I was just like, girl, I was there asking y'all, and y'all said no. So you all gave in to fear. You can't be complaining now when people are calling you out. So, let's see. Joseph Bruno says, when Meghan is around, they say she wants attention, and when she's not, they say, where is she? It's like, where's Waldo? She can't win. No, she can't. She really can't. It's like, you people are crazy. She can't win. Chantal says, I wish I could get this book to read. I can't get it in Jamaica right. Wait a minute, really? Can you download Audible? Can you get it via Audible? I don't understand. I mean, I don't, one of our other friends was saying the same thing, Chantal. So if you could drop me a comment in the regular comment and let me know so that I remember this. And so I will figure out, because she told me a way that she was able to get it in Jamaica. So drop me a line on the regular, and I can take what she says and how she was able to get it in Jamaica so that you're able to read it. That's crazy. I want you to be able to read it. So definitely put in there, hey, Petal, I'm the one that couldn't, just so I remember. And so then I will take what she said, because she's also in Jamaica and she's now able to get it. I think she's able to get the audio version. So yeah. Because when it came out, she was also having problems as well. Terry says, I don't see Barack Obama accompanying Michelle on her book tours. They are so obsessed with Meghan. Yeah, they want Meghan to be on this tour. They need an excuse to say that it's Meghan is the reason why Harry wrote those things. They want to pin this on Meghan. No. Harry would never think this. It's Meghan who wrote this book. These are all Meghan's thoughts. Meghan is there that's making Harry say the things that he said. Meghan is the one that's making Harry speak out about his relation, what William and Charles and Camilla did to him. It's Meghan. That's why they want her there. They want Meghan so they can blame everything on the book on Meghan, because they already had that narrative. Oh, Meghan is the one that wrote that book. So when they're not seeing Meghan and they're hearing only Harry in those interviews, and they're hearing his voice and only reading from him, it's harder for them to pin it on Meghan. As Harry said in the book, everything that was happening in the office, all the things that were going wrong in the office, William did one thing, pinned it all on Meghan. It's exactly what the press is trying to do. And now they haven't seen her. They can't pin it on her because she has nothing to do with any of this. And why exactly would Meghan be on Harry's book tour? I mean, that is so stupid. I can't even. Sherry Ware says the UK tabloid news are desperate to make money off Meghan and Harry. Please, the UK media focus on PA and MA, Prince Andrew and MA, and Walmart. Yes, they're not exciting, and that's the thing. They're just not exciting enough. So people aren't buying what they're selling. So they need, they need Harry and Meghan. Kizunua says, Lottie, 100% agree. They need to stay away from that. I still like to know who made the decision to have it on Prince Archie's birthday. Charles, he's petty. They are all petty like that. They are petty. If we never knew Charles and William and they were petty before, Spare just took away all of that. They are like that. They are like that. Let me make Archie's birthday all about me, you know? Let me make a baby's birthday all about me so I can get all the attention on that day. But as Harry says, unless they decide to sit down and talk and work out the issues with them and apologize to Meghan, I would be surprised if Harry turned up at that. That would be surprising, because he already laid out and he said it's in their court. So there you go. Rosa says, aren't the UK polls run by Camilla's son, Prince Charles's wife? I heard that story. Yeah, I don't know if it's her son or some relative of hers, but I did hear that as well, that some relative of hers run the UK, that whatever polls, the YouGov polls, that it's run. I mean, would I be shocked? No, absolutely not. That would be the least shocking thing in the world, but I have heard that as well. So, and I hadn't gone to check. So there you go. But I don't think anybody would be shocked to know that that's, I don't. In other news, Jacinda Ardern, if you haven't heard, I'm sure it's on all the press. Jacinda Ardern has announced that she will resign as Prime Minister by February 7th. And we know Jacinda was also in the Lift to Lead docuseries that's out. And obviously she was in Meghan's when she did the cover of Vogue. I'm sorry, yeah, British Vogue. So it was very shocking. It was definitely very shocking, and I didn't realize all the abuse and the misogyny. I mean, so many things have been thrown at this woman, and she's a mom, and she's with a young child, and and she's given so much of her life to serving the people of New Zealand, and she's done such an incredible job. But there is a right-wing press that is just brutal towards her. I mean, she has as leader of the New Zealand, has completely banned Rupert Murdoch Press from New Zealand, but hasn't stopped the worldwide right wing of them to really attack her, including I saw in a front page of a newspaper today, someone posted it, a screenshot of it, where they made her look like Hitler. And it was just like, are you serious? Yeah. And it's just like, yeah. And they're called her a dictator because, she closed the borders when, and really saved a lot of lives in New Zealand when COVID hit. But I wasn't aware of all the abuse that she's taken. But as a leader of New Zealand, it's unbelievable. The misogyny that's out there, it's despicable. But this was some stuff. It's a New Zealand outlet, says Jacinda Ardern announces she will resign as Prime Minister by February 7th, next month. And these are little clips from the article. It says Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has announced she will resign as Prime Minister no later than February 7th. She also announced that general election will be held on Saturday, October 14th. Ardern was speaking for the Labour Party caucus retreat in Napier. For me, it's time, she says. It says, being a prime minister has been the greatest honor of my life, and I want to thank New Zealanders for the enormous privilege of leading the country for the past 5.5 years, Jacinda Ardern said. Withholding such a privileged role comes responsibility, including the responsibility to know when you're the right person to lead, and also when you're not. In another part of the article, she says that as to my time in the job, I hope I leave New Zealanders with a belief that you can be kind but strong, empathetic but decisive, optimistic but focused, and that you can be your own kind of leader, one who knows when it's time to go, Jacinda Ardern says. And if you've seen her bit in the Lift to Lead, this is exactly who she is. As we remember the bombing and all of that stuff that has happened, how she is led with compassion and just love and humility. And she is an incredible, incredible leader. And I mean, New Zealand did so well with COVID because of her leadership. Although some people are claiming that, because she closed the border, that it was barbaric and all of those things. People, we all have different views on that. But she is been amazing. And so it's very, very sad to see her go. But it takes a lot for you to know when it's time for you to go. When it's time, it's like, you know what? you know, I've done this job. And like you said, with that kind of job, you need a little extra in the tank for stuff that comes up unexpected. And right now she doesn't have what's in the tank. So she stepped aside and giving it to someone else to take the lead. And kudos to her. Absolutely kudos to her for doing that. And our POTUS, Biden says he tweeted about her. She says, Prime Minister Ardern, the U.S. New Zealand partnership is stronger than ever, thanks in large part to your leadership. Your stewardship advancing a free and open Indo-Pacific was crucial. I look forward to deepening our nation's ties for generations to come. And of course, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who she's really great friends with, from Canada, he says, thank you, Jacinda Ardern, for your partnership and your friendship, and for your empathetic, compassionate, strong, and steady leadership over the past several years. The difference you have made is immeasurable. I'm wishing you and your family nothing but the best, my friend. And I love Adil Ray is a British reporter. And I love what he wrote about her. Someone had written a really nasty tweet, and he basically wrote this. He says, Jacinda Ardern is not just a loss to New Zealand, but to the world. She led like no other over terror attacks, gun laws, climate change, and COVID. She reminded us of what leadership can look like, one of strength, but compassion, empathy, and kindness. She was the leader many wished for. And so very true. I just love that. And I thought, yeah, absolutely, absolutely perfect. So, yeah. It's really sad to see her go. It's really, really sad. And the world has, and before we even come to this, I'll jump in the chat for a second. And the world we've lost a really great, losing a really, really great leader is one that we needed. But, as she said, you got to know what you can do and how much you can do. And so kudos for her for going out on her own terms. Let's see. 95KA says, hello, Pedal. Did you see them? The nanny Archie gave an interview with an African channel. It airs on Monday. There is a piece of it on the site. Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. She's so cute. I love her. So there's a little clip of it, and then it's coming on Monday. So I will definitely watch it. She's adorable, and if you've seen it, she's like, yeah, it was a dream of hers, and I guess her dream come true to work with, the Sussexes. Joy says the PM has done so much during her time in New Zealand, and now she knows it's time to do something else. She has made her mark in New Zealand. Very, very, very true. And again, it's one of those things, when it's time to go, you want to do other things with your life. She's a young woman with a child, and she told her fiance, yeah, definitely now let's get married. Good for her. She wants to do other things. No need to stay in politics until you're dragging yourself out of there. So good for her. Hi, Joan says, hi all, hope you're all well. Sad to see Jacinda go. She did a great job. Yeah, absolutely great. And again, if you have not seen her in the Live to Lead docuseries, please watch it. So, that had me in tears. That is amazing. And Fire says, Jacinda is friends with Meghan too. Yeah, she's definitely friends with Harry and Meghan. So it'd be interesting to see if they work together in the future. Absolutely would be very interesting to see that. Let's see. Sharon Davis says, Charles has to know that is King Archie's birthday. That is really low thing to do. So forever he will celebrate King's Day, not Archie's birthday. Of course. Petty all the way. Pettiness. And something else that's here. So coming up, we know that Harry and a group of others, including Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, and Prince Harry, yeah, again, Prince Harry, and all of these people, they are suing the Daily Mail for a host of things that Daily Mail has done with whether it's hacking or putting, they are putting listening devices on people's cars, or having people having private investigators invest. I mean, all whole list of things that these group of people, 7 of them, have come together to sue, including Baroness Lawrence, whose son was killed. And so they're all coming together to sue the Daily Mail. And so this has been adjourned and adjourned. And so it's been adjourned, and now they fixed the date, 4 days. That's going to start on March 27th. So March 27th is going to be a hearing. And so this was this was put out for people who want to be a part of the court proceedings, reporters and stuff, that they can request, and whether they be in the court or they can listen in. Obviously, if you listen in, whatever, you can't record it or any of that stuff. So that's what this was going on. But the court case, the hearing, is going to be March 27th, and it's going to go for 4 days. So it'll be very interesting. And, of course, the Daily Mail is like, no, it's they were trying to get this dismissed and all of that stuff, and that's not happening. So it's going forward. So set your clocks and timers and whatever for March 27th, 4 days of hearings. And this is very interesting because we know how, people, I didn't know non-royals, like the government of a country, can, pay non-working royals to come visit. It's very interesting because, again, we know Zara and Mike have never been, Zara has never been a working royal. Her mom, Princess Anne, chose to not give her titles and all of that stuff. And so she's not a working royal. So this article is very interesting, absolutely very interesting. And before I get there, thank you so much, Official Lauren Braun, for your kind donation. Thank you so much. He says, thanks, Mandela, for always updating. Oh, my pleasure. Absolute pleasure. As I update myself, I absolutely love to share that. So thank you so much, Official Lauren Brown, for your kind donation. But this article, Zara, royal treatment for Zara and Mike Tyndall, but SA government, South Australian government, silent on how much the couple was paid. And I was just like, are you serious? South Australian government is paying Zara and Mike to visit? The South Australian government is again refusing to say how much taxpayers, not only the taxpayers, forked out for a recent celebrity visit, this time by England's former rugby captain and the daughter of Princess Anne. Zara, and these are just clips from the article, which again I'll post in the show notes so you can read it yourself. Zara and Mike Tyndall traveled to South Australia late last year and attended events and venues, including Adelaide 500 Supercar Race Weekend, the Star Grease Restaurant, and a state dinner. I'm like, a state dinner? The government, it has now also declined to say how much the pair were paid, instead describing the amount as commercial in confidence. It also says that they were in Australia working with other partners, which helped reduce the cost of bringing them to Adelaide. So not only did they pay to get them there, they paid them for their visit. And it's just like, wait a minute. Y'all had an issue with Harry and Meghan. Y'all had this issue with Harry and Meghan, and now the South Australia government is paying non-working royals to come visit, and nobody is saying a word. Why isn't this in the tabloids in the UK? Why isn't there people like, wait a minute, taxpayer money from Australia is paying two people to do non-working royals to never have been working royals? If that was Harry and Meghan, what would the news outlets be talking about today? Wouldn't they be screaming about wouldn't Australians be screaming about why are we paying two non-working royals to come visit? not only paying them to come, but also paying them a fee for being. It's just like, very interesting. Anyways, this happened today. Well, there's been this big thing since Harry, since Spare, with all the things that Harry has been clearing up. Some of the things that he's clearing up was stuff that was written in Finding Freedom. And one of the things that obviously one of those tabloid journalists are attacking Omid today about is, Omid posted it on there, is something that he wrote in Finding Freedom about Meghan getting training, like, security training before the wedding, just in case there's a kidnapping and all of that stuff. And of course, if you've read the book, I'm sorry if you haven't read that part yet, but if you've read the book, Harry basically squashed that whole thing as nonsense. And he mentioned that it was in a, best-selling book. So Scobie is responding to that. He said the story in Finding Freedom about Meghan's security training was first debunked in 2021 during her mail court case, which was absolutely true. And he says it came as a surprise to me because it was palace officials who confirmed it to my co-author and I. But as Harry writes, it's nonsense. He wished it was true. And Scobie also said, there's a number of lines fed by certain staff, which we didn't include due to fact check fails. Things to make the institution look better. Seeing the inner workings of the palace so close up during the storm was fascinating, an experience I look forward to sharing in Endgame. And so he's writing a book called Endgame, which is about, his experience covering the Sussexes and, behind the scenes of the palace thing. And so he is saying, it's something that was told to us, me and Carolyn, who's his co-author of Finding Freedom, who you would never know it because Carolyn has disappeared and she's never gotten any flack for being the co-author of this book, only Scobie. Anyway, Scobie is saying that, there was something that was told to us by a palace official. So the Daily Mail is attacking Scobie and calling him, all these names that, Harry and Meghan's lapdog and, that he's their mouthpiece, and now Harry is basically throwing him under a bus, whatever. But the thing about that whole story is that did not originate from Omid Scobie. It did not originate in Finding Freedom. And one of our lovely squaddies, Josephine, pointed out, and I tweeted about today, that story originated in 2018. As you can see from this Sun article was April of 2018. They were talking about security training, what SAS training Meghan had to do. All royal family members have it, and what is involved. And it's a whole article about Meghan going through the security training where they're doing mock training of her being kidnapped and her learning how to drive away and basically to save herself, in preparation for the wedding, because of all the death threats and stuff that was coming into them. So the Sun reported this in April 2018. Finding Freedom was not published until more than 2 years later in August of 2020. So this whole story that they're attacking Scobie for, this whole story was told to the Sun in 2018, and it was all a lie. And again, if you've read Harry's book, they didn't even want to give Meghan security because Harry was sixth in line to the throne. He's like, I wish she had security. I wish we had those people come in and train her. Hell, I wish that those security officers would come and retrain me and retrain her, and they would come and be in and protect us. So this whole narrative was a lie. But again, it didn't start with Scobie. This came, someone in the palace fed this to the Sun in 2018, 2 years earlier. And so for all the things that, obviously Spare debunked a whole bunch of stuff from Finding Freedom. And a lot of this stuff was fed to Scobie and Carolyn from the palace. And this, again, is my thing with reporters, whether royal reporters getting fed, or as they say, or fed or briefed or stuff leaking to them from the palace, is they don't fact check things. They just literally take what the palace says is gospel, and whether it's putting it in a book or writing or however, They don't fact check. If someone tells me that Meghan has all this SAS training and all of the security training, as a reporter, what do? Go find the people who trained them and make sure it's true. Don't just take what someone say, especially the palace, and you know how they lie, you know how they leak. This is not new that palace leak lies. It's not new that, they leak stuff to make them look. It is not new. So it is, for me, if you're a reporter worth a cent, any kind of anything, you go and fact check. You always go fact check stuff. And so it's just like, to wait now. And obviously, as he said, during the court hearing with the Daily Mail, this all came out that it was false because Meghan debunked it. That no, she didn't have any of that training that was in Finding Freedom when Finding Freedom was brought into the case. But it's so ridiculous that it's like so many of them do the same exact thing. They all now have egg on their faces because nobody fact checked anything. And they're like, oh, well, the palace briefed us. The palace gave us guidance, is what they love to say. The guidance from the palace. Yeah, they're guiding you with their lies. And then you bring that stuff to your audience, and now you end up with egg on your face because none of that stuff is true. If you only fact checked, that's all you got to do. Fact check. If you're a journalist, you fact check stuff. You fact check one, the people who are telling it to you, have this person been honest before? Have they been lying about stuff? And then what the information they told you about, go fact check them. Go find the people who it is that, if you can't get it from Harry and Meghan, go find the people who are supposed to have trained them and see if you get something from them, So it's again, over and over and over, palace lies. Lies upon lies upon lies. It's unbelievable. But anyways, there's another story which I'm going to talk about in our next podcast because it's about this charity, this mental health charity that this woman did a podcast, basically mental health. She actually owns the charity, started the mental health charity, basically calling Meghan, talking about her mental health crisis and her anxiety and suicidal ideations, that she's playing the victim card. Turns out this woman is, not only is she a friend of Prince Charles, he is the founding patron of her mental health charity. And I'm like, why are organizations in the UK, one, attached to Prince Charles, and why are people going to these any of these mental health charities that are attached to the royal family? The royal family have no credibility when it has to do with mental health at all, in any sense of the word. I mean, look at what they did to Princess Diana. Even today, that stigma of she's mentally unstable, where did that come from? Prince Charles. You can't tell me this woman doesn't know that that's where that comes from. When, it's just unbelievable that this woman has a charity. And it's just like, so we're going to talk about that in our next episode because I got a whole lot of other research to do with her relationship with Prince Charles. So I want to do it when I have it all together. We'll talk about that. But again, anything to do mental health, whether it's William, Kate, Charles, or anybody in the royal family, any organization, mental health organization that is attached to the royal family, run away from. They are not credible. These people, they do more harm than any good. And I know some people were like, why can Meghan, William and Kate have heads together and all these other organizations? Why can they? I'm like, if you have mental health issues and you go to one of these, good luck for you. Good luck with you surviving, because it's unreal. So again, we'll talk about that in our next episode. I'm going to stay in the chat until we're done, and we'll talk about the mental health, because it's so disturbing. It's unbelievable. Let's see. And of course, squaddies are going after them on Twitter right now. They are like, they are really going after that charity because it's like, you are dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. Official Lauren Ron says people like this who work in mental health but dismiss cries for help cause so much damage, which is what she did. And not only did she do that, she went on, what is her name? Rachel Johnson, that one who, when they found out Meghan was dating Harry, she's the one who talked about, Meghan's blood will thicken the royals' blood, or some craziness. Her exotic DNA will thicken the royal blood, something like that. I mean, that's who she was talking to. One of the people who has been attacking Meghan this whole time, that's the person that this woman went on to be, basically dismiss Meghan's talking about her mental health crisis as playing the victim card. It is just so, yeah, she is getting huge backlash, not just from squatties, but a lot of, women in the British press are also going after her and her charity, because that is so dangerous. And yeah. Lydia says another hit job on character of the Duchess is a disgrace. It is absolutely a disgrace. It is absolutely a disgrace, and it's time for more and more people to call out these people and their association with the royal family. You've seen it. You saw TK Maxx do the same thing, attacking Prince Harry, and then it's found out that their relationship with Prince Charles. Now you're seeing this charity attacking Meghan, and then you see the deep. I mean, literally, this charity is funded by the Princess Trust, and so it just is unbelievable what people would do because they have a relationship with members of the royal family. It is sick to see what they will do. Let's see. Beverly says the Sun tabloid is using Duchess Meghan's dress in American Army uniform when she went on the USO tour. Yeah. It's just, yeah. Yes. Well, because then it gives it more clout, like, yeah, she got training, which was all a lie. And so, yeah, the thing about this with that training thing is, like, it was all fed, and obviously I don't have, we don't have absolute confirmation, but would anybody be shocked that if this came from Jason Knopf? Would anybody be shocked at all? Because he was the one that really convinced Meghan when she did not want to. When they first presented this book to them, Meghan wanted nothing to do with Omid and his book. She even was like, told her friends to not have anything to do with Omid and his book and Caroline and their book. They convinced them that this is going to be the book to refute all those lies. And then they turned around and used the book against her in court. It is just sick. It is so very sick what they did. And all the lies that were in this book. And according to even Samantha Markles, and we did her case against Meghan, I don't think, and if I remember, none of the things that Meghan wrote in that email to Jason, that, answering all those questions that Caroline and Omid had, according to that, court case, none of those things ended up in the book. None of those things that Meghan put in that email had ended up in Caroline and Omid's book, Finding Freedom. So it's it is unbelievable to me. And I read the book when it came out. I am not going back to read it to confirm any of that. So I'm like, no. Joy says Jason K was feeding Omid and the lady writing with him a lot of stuff, knowing that information was lies. That Jaden K then Jason K could go back and say Omid lied. Jason K, yeah. I mean, all that stuff. And then now when it came out in court, they used the court and they put it in court. And so Meghan had to be like, no, this is a lie. This is a lie. This is a lie. This is a lie. So, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, if Meghan were to write an in-depth about what happened with that court case, I'd be very interested to know and to see all the ways in which, and I would, in which Jason Knopf just was, I mean, if she ever wrote a book, I would hope that she would do an in-depth on what happened there. So, including the emails and the text messages that they leaked as well. They edited and leaked it. So, unbelievable. Black Queen says, oh, wait, Black Queen, here you are. Cookies. Oh, she's talking to Cookies and Cream. They know the truth. They just lie because the cult gang peasant will eat it up without fact checking. Bottom feeders of humanity. Yep. That's what they do. They lie and they know, that's what the royal family live on. You never know the truth about them. And you know that because historians in the UK who are desperately and have been desperately trying to get historical documents from the royal family about, like their relatives and stuff, especially those serving war and stuff, so they can do a correct version of what for historical purpose of what happened. And the royal family have been blocking them from getting these historical documents. And why would you block historians from getting historical documents if you really want the truth to be put out there? The reason they don't want them to see it is they are about hiding the truth and changing history. They want to rewrite history and write it in a way that generations down the road would see them in a positive light. And they are literally historians are literally using their own money to go to court right now. And that's one of the reasons why one of them tweeted recently, when there's this whole big hubbub about the crown, when they were like, oh my gosh, the crown is false. How could they say those things to the royal family? And the historian was like, look, if the royal family wanted the truth, they would not be blocking historians from getting historical documents so that they can record the truth. They're the ones blocking it. So don't be attacking the crown if it's not correct. The people who you should be going after, it's a royal family who's been hiding historical documents, so they cannot get the proper information to speak the truth. And that is why I'm so happy that Princess Diana had it in her mind to put her narrative on so many different platforms so that the royal family cannot, yes, look at what they did with the BBC documentary. But we have her on tape, and now we have her in the book. So we have their story. And it's the same thing Harry and Meghan are doing, that they cannot hide it and rewrite it to make them look good. And it's really, really sick. I mean, literally this going on right now. Their historians are complaining and taking them to court to get these documents. And they're hiding them. Unbelievable. Official Lauren Bourne says this, I really think Harry wishes he had fresh training, but there are some companies that can simulate the training. I hope he can get that for their peace of mind. Well, I'm sure now, yeah. But at the time when they were under the, the royal family and pretty much had to go by what they were given there, they didn't have that. And it shows, again, reading the book, how powerless Harry was. He was really powerless. I mean, just reading about how some courtiers treated him, it was like, oh my gosh, this is a born prince that they're treating that way to and speaking that way to. This is his grandmother is the queen. And yet these staff members felt more entitled to treat him any which way, and knowing that the queen and those higher than Harry wouldn't say anything. If that's how they treated a born prince, imagine what they did to this biracial woman who just married into that family. One can only imagine what they did, and it's unbelievable. Let's see. Fire says, she's talking to Lauren Brown, agrees, since Omid is at Yahoo, his posts are more honest. Absolutely. It definitely is more honest. And, for his sake, I mean, when you see what Harry has done with Spare, if you're writing a book, you better not come with sources and sources said this and source. You better be naming names because nobody's going to buy that. I mean, the standard has already been set with Spare. You better be naming and outing people, or else dude, I'm not, again, the only books I'm buying is Harry and Meghan. When it comes to them, is Harry and Meghan write it. That's it. But for his sake, if he wants it to sell, he better not have sources said this and sources said that, because sources is out the window. We are beyond sources now. So yeah, he better be naming who told him that. So, Joy says, Meghan's been set up on day one. The family knew what they were doing to her. Harry was caught off guard. He did not think his family would do what they did to Meghan. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I think that's a shock, because I remember when they were dating and he said, she's going to come in and she's going to have a family she's never had. And he had all these visions. He was the one that was really touting the Fab Four. Like, he saw them like, wow, we have equal partners. We can work together. We can do all this stuff. He was the one, and it was surprising to see that he was the one that was really gung-ho about the four of them working together. What a disappointment that was for him. What an absolute disappointment. To know that, Kate and William didn't really think that way. I don't think they really wanted that. April May said, she's talking to Sharon. I do know a lot of wonderful Scorpios, but I don't mess with them. They will wait years to get back if they have to. Okay. You Scorpios, the Scorpions, they will sting you. Let's see. Lydia says, talking to Black Queen, I think they tried the judge's hand by making it appear that she could be biased. Notice Prince Harry does not mention her in his book or the letter from Thomas Markle Jr. to him before the wedding. Not quite sure who you're talking about. I mean, I understand the Thomas Markle Jr. letter. Oh, let's see. Black Queen is up here. She says, Black Queen says, I hope they throw out Scammy's case as soon as it's brought back to the docket in the fall. I hope so too. I hope she does not settle. I hope Meghan doesn't settle, because, with someone like that, in a year's time, she's going to come back with something, and then you have to settle. No, I wouldn't settle at all. Let's see. April May says, Prince Charles is King Charles now is Scorpio, and Scorpios can quietly diminish people while making themselves look squeaky clean. Both my parents are Scorpio, and I can tell you, y'all, same stories. Can tell you all some stories. I mean, Prince Charles or King Charles, his entire life have been this. I mean, look at all the things he's done to Harry to elevate himself, to diminish them, to make himself look good. It worked, at least he tried to make it work his whole life, trying to diminish Diana, trying to, people like she's crazy, she's mentally unstable. I mean, his whole life had been trying to diminish others so he can look good, even his own kids. We haven't really talked about the work ethics of Kate and William, and even Harry, actually, which this was a little surprising, when he talked about the court circular, how it's a nonsense. The court circular is absolute nonsense, where people are putting in things at the end of the year to make them look like they were doing a lot of work. And he talks about it being so unfair that people would look at the court circular and the amount of work they do, and they think that he even mentioned his brother, that they were calling him work shy, but it was really unfair, because it's not that he wasn't doing any work. It's that Prince Charles at the time, it was Prince Charles at the time, didn't want them doing more work, because then that would make him look bad. He didn't want them getting that kind of attention. So he deliberately diminished the amount of work they did, or didn't allow them to do amount of work they wanted to do, so they didn't overshadow him. I mean, what kind of a which is not to say William is not still work shy, even with the little he does, you could tell he doesn't put a whole lot of effort into it. But it's like, what kind of, if you are really about service and you're really about really serving your people in the community, why would you restrict your kids who really want to do work from doing works just so that they don't overshadow you? That should be a big red flag to the people of UK. You'd think they'd be outraged about this because, again, they are paying this guy. There's a £102 million sovereign grant that goes to the royal family. And when they have people that could actually want to do work, and then you're like, no, we're not going to give you the funds to do the work you do because we don't want you overshadowing me. We don't want you to look like you're doing more work than me, or at least come, because I want at the end of the year to be on top for people to say, see, look how much work he's doing. That is sick. That is so sick. And the thing about with Prince Charles, if you look at the work that he's done, if you pay attention to the work that he's done, the majority of the work that he does is really with his pet projects. I mean, even as in Scotland, people are like, oh, Prince Charles is going on this, he's doing this thing and he's doing this engagement, whatever. A lot of those engagements are right around where he lives. He's not traveling to them. He's not traveling, going off to see people. It's usually a lot of the engagements that they do is right around where they are, And I even saw one that he did a couple of days ago, and someone said that even the people that he claimed, like the volunteers that were there, instead of going to them, he had them bust into where he was, where he was going to be. And that's the kind of ridiculousness that, and like, you're paying £102 million for these people. Should you not pay attention a little bit more about what they're doing? People like, oh, look how much work he's doing at the end of the year. No, as Harry said, a lot of that stuff is, oh, let's go cut a ribbon and let's pack in a whole lot of things that are not a lot exactly engagements to make you look like you're doing work. This is ridiculous, and people are not complaining about it. Absolutely not complaining about it. Lydia says, Katie Nichols mentioned that lie about trading as well. Yeah, they're all fed the same lies. And again, not fact-checking. They're going by the palace guidance that they call it. Yeah, guiding you with lies. Official Lauren Brown says that, Lydia, I think Omid genuinely did not expect the level of untruth that the royal family spews. He grew up with it, so hard to believe the worst. The effects H talks about, the exposure to lies numbs. On one part, I see that, but on another part, Omid comes from a tabloid world. He used to work with Us Weekly or Us Magazine in the US. So Omid comes from the tabloid world. So in a lot of ways, Omid should know better. He should have known better. And he's been around the royal family, and he's been around the royal beat long enough to know that the lies that they spew. But I think in those things, it's kind of like, oh, well, it's easy to just go along and sort of do. And he said, look, some of the things that they were selling them, they didn't put it in the book because it didn't match. It didn't check out when they fact checked it. But they should have fact checked more. They should have done more fact checking to put it in there. Now, now they got egg on their faces. But again, when you come from a world of tabloids, even if it's the US tabloids, they lie. And there are some things that Omid has said that is not in the book that he is actually lied about as well, to be perfectly honest. And so it's, yeah. Hi, again, that is why the royal family have tabloids as their mouthpieces. That's who they chose for their royal rota, because they know they will lie for them. New Zealand Air as well. Yes, New Zealand Air as well. I haven't found their connection to the royal family. Doesn't mean they didn't have one, but yeah, they're another. And it's like when the British tabloids get to you, you sell out, and it's just like, and then you get called out. Unbelievable. Let's see. What people won't do for a CBE. Yeah. And that woman, that mental health woman, obviously has a CBE, obviously. Just like it's, yep. Let's see. CMAX says, I'm expecting to get blocked soon. I have my own struggles with anxiety and it angers me. So many people are put at risk when you dismiss mental health. This stuff kills. And that's why people are calling out that mental health charity. Because people, this stuff, Meghan is away from that. Meghan has her own people in the US. Most likely, she probably would never even see this. But people who are struggling with their mental health and need to, and even on the same podcast, and again, we'll talk about it more in depth, she talks about, that people who are struggling mentally, they don't have morphine to help them. The only thing that they have is to be able to talk about what it is and to believe about what they're saying. She literally said that, and turns around when it comes up, when the host talks about Meghan, she literally flips it and said, oh, while she says, I'm not condemning, she don't condemn her, but I really don't respect people who play the victim card. And it's just like, oh, so when people are going through struggle, the only thing they have is to talk about it and believe what they're saying. But when it's Meghan, it's playing the victim card. And it's just like, this woman who suffered anxiety, had depression and suicidal ideation, talking about that is playing the victim card. It's just like, and it's the equivalent to people who, when you point out their racism, they quickly tell you that you're playing the race card. All that is to shut you down. Because why Meghan is speaking about what the royal family, who she is in bed with, she's speaking out about them. And all of a sudden, it's the victim card. Amazing. Floor R. Hi, Floor R. Floor R says, don't forget William was also trying that with Harry, but Harry saw through it. He tried a lot of different things. What are you talking about specifically, Floor R? Let us know. We'll go back down and see what you said, what you're speaking about specifically. Let me see. I'm going to scroll all the way down and get some more chat in there. Official Lauren Brown. Oh, you're it also. Official Lauren Brown says, Count the Gal. They tried it to anyway. Harry took his winning and ran out of the UK. Respect. Never stay where you're not wanted, right? Exactly. Go where you are appreciated. Go where you're valued. You don't have to stay in these toxic situations. And that's what they hate Harry and Meghan for, because they're used to people staying in those toxic situations and taking their abuse. They're not used to people calling them out and walking away. And it's so funny because if you read, and I read it again a couple of days ago, actually it was yesterday, the interview Harry did with Brianna Gordon, it's something he said in there that was very, very, if you can miss it, he literally says, I can't wait for my family to be away from this, to no longer be a part of this situation. It sounds like he's saying he can't wait for him and Meghan to not be a part of the institution any longer, as in maybe giving up their time. I mean, I don't know, but that's how he didn't elaborate, but he said that I can't wait for my family to be away from this situation. And it was just like, oh, okay, so who knows? So again, if you haven't read it's in our community page. If you have not read that interview with Brianna Gordon, you can read the actual interview from her Substack, and also she wrote up about it in the Telegraph. So you'll have both links there. You can read it. Let's see. Get more people in there before I go. Dolores says, I wonder who Omid got this info, I guess, from. Was it the bee, the wasp, the fly, or the rat, or that rat JK? Probably all of them. Cookies and Cream says, Katie Nichols lied for a living. I hope one day she gets sued for her lies. As what was his name? The Harry and Meghan guy. Hugo used to call her Katie I know nothing Nichols. Yep, exactly. And I saw Tina Brown recently wrote a review apparently of Spare. And I had to laugh. I didn't read it. I was like, I'm not giving you a view, but someone put in a link and I checked and it was she did it I think in Vanity Fair because I think she was the former editor. She's a former editor of Vanity Fair, and so she put it in there. And of course they said she was attacking the Spare, but I was like, of course she is. She recently did wrote a book that she's been hacking until trying to hawk until recently, and hasn't done very well. So of course she will attack Harry and Meghan, and I'm sure Harry has proven a lot of the things she said in there as lies. So of course she'll be upset. Um, let's see. Official Lauren Brown says, Petal, read part 2 of that comment if you can. Oh, let me go down and see. Which one of the comments you made? I am not sure which one we're talking about. Pedal, have you seen channels giving bad faith review of Spare? If it's YouTube channels, I do not go on YouTube channels, especially hate channels. Of course, they are going to give a bad review of Spare. And most likely, most of them most likely have not read Spare. And if they did, they would twist it. And so, no, I would not go on YouTube channels apart from positive, Sussex channels. I don't go on them because they will twist everything. It's just it's kind of like the extension of the British press. So a lot of them would just twist everything and make it about, oh, Harry and Meghan or Harry is attacking. For me, that's just a waste of time. No, I wouldn't go. And I wouldn't go and read that at all. Let's see. Oh, wait. Official Lauren Brown, happy belated birthday. Your beautiful daughter of Eve. More blessing. Oh, wait. So it's your birth. It was your birthday. Happy birthday, official Lauren Brown. Oh, what day was your birthday? Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Lauren Brown. Hope you had a fantastic time. I hope you had a fantastic time celebrating whatever it is you did. So, yes. Yes, birthday celebrations. Ruth Lopez says, I never understood the point of keeping the Spare completely unprepared to take over if something happens to the heir. It's nonsensical. I'm telling you, a lot of the things with the royal family is nonsensical. Even Prince Charles, whatever you think of Prince Charles, and you know my view of Prince Charles, if it was up to courtiers of the royal family, Prince Charles, when he was the Prince of Wales, would have been so unprepared to take over this role. Because, there were a lot of the thing was like, oh, no, you don't have to do all this work. You don't have to do just, they were trying to infantilize him his whole life. And it's only because he had this mindset of, no, I want to carve out a role for myself. And he doggedly did it. He just had all these ideas and he refused to, sit down and, basically he's a workaholic, not because of, them encourage him to work and learn and grow as a person. Yes, he's still, emotionally stunted, but work ethic wise, he would have never accomplished a lot of the things that he accomplished had he taken what the courtiers were doing. It's the same thing that they've done to William, and it's what they were trying to do to Harry. is the reason why William is so unprepared today to do anything. And Harry, for all Charles's fault, his character, his work ethic is more Charles. And so it's just one of those things where it's kind of like you want him to take over, but you infantilize to the point where it's like, oh my goodness. And in a lot of ways he is, for example, personally, where people have to hire in his pajamas and fold his socks and all of that nonsense. But when it comes to work and taking over and stuff, he's been able to do a smooth transition, not because of courtiers and what they would train him, is because he decided he wanted to learn how to do stuff. And again, for whatever you think of him, and I think, I have a very negative view of him, but in this area, I think he was excellent. Yes, he was a workaholic, which basically deprived himself of a relationship with his sons. Yes. But in terms of preparing himself as a business person to take over, it was because of his own effort, So, and William, his courtiers again, you see what William is, And it's like every year, it's like, oh, he's going to be doing great things. And it's just like, no, he's not. He's not doing anything because he's bought into everybody else could do it for me. And so I just show up and put my name on it. He doesn't have the work ethic. Let's see. Will says, stop with the giving up titles. Even if they do, they're still part of the family and are fifth and sixth in line. Nothing changes this. Also, this plays into the haters narrative. No, it doesn't. Harry said it himself. If Harry's the one that said, he said, I can't wait until my family is away from this. I am asking, well, does that mean giving up the title? Because so what does that mean? He's the one that says it. So no, it's not playing into, they already have that narrative. So it's not playing into anything. He's the one that says it. And so I'm questioning what exactly that means. Does that mean, walking away completely? And, he can, it's something where he can give up the title and he can take himself out of the line of succession. That's something he can do if he wants to. So it's not something that say, oh my gosh, this is impossible. No, he can, so again, he's the one that put it there and I'm questioning what that means. So no, So sorry, Wonderwell, I have to disagree. And I have to disagree. The same thing, we had the same thing on Twitter with a lot of people were a little bit upset because some comedians were going after Harry, and they were making fun of Harry because he was talking about his pee-pee. And comedians were being comedians and they were making fun of it. And one wrote a book, a bedtime story or a little kid's book, I guess, about Harry and his pee-pee. And there were squatties who were upset about it. And my thing is like, look, Harry is known as this kind of a comedian. You think Harry's going to put something like that there and not know that people are going to make fun of his pee-pee and make fun of the absurdity of that story? And, it's like, look, he put it there. And so you can't help but people question, And if I were Brioni and he said that to me, you can't wait until his family is no longer a part of that. I would question, well, what does that mean? As a report, I would question it. And so he can clarify. And so because she didn't clarify, then I could come in and ask, well, what is he talking about? So anyway, that's just me. I'm nosy like that. Because I'm not a soundbite kind of person. If someone says something, I want them to explain so I don't have to guess what they mean. I want them to explain. Let's see. A couple more before we go. Let's see. Root Lopez says, I grew up with a rageaholic parent. Family would just sit and watch when she had screaming fits of temper. Wow. I am so sorry that happened to you, Ruth. It just, I don't understand why people don't step in with those things. I really don't. They accept and allow that sort of stuff to happen, and they don't step in. And I again, sometimes we grow up with those things and it just becomes normal. And then, it's only when you get away from those situations, you're like, oh, wait, that's not normal. We should have done something. We should have stepped in and intervened in some way. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Anne Marie Bethel says if you have Spotify, yes, absolutely, you can also get it there. So, that's right, you can purchase a book from Spotify, spare. So, if you are from Jamaica or something, and you've been able to listen to Meghan's podcast on Spotify, you would be able to also purchase the book. I put the link on our last episode where you can get it on Spotify, and I will put the link on this episode as well. So if you are out of the US or the UK or whatever, and you're having trouble being able to get the book, and you have been able to, say, listen to Meghan on Spotify, you can get the book there and listen to the audio as well. I think when I looked at it, it was $30 or something like that in the US. Don't know what the cost will be in your country, but that's a way to do that. Gift Chiposifo. Oh, hi. I haven't seen you here before. Says, oh, thank God Mandela's granddaughter has realized that she was used unknowingly to spread hate to Harry and Meghan, was saddened by that article and thought she had joined the evil, vile media gang for money. When I first saw it, I had the same, because I knew that a couple of guys from that family had gone on Piers Morgan, and they were not, they were buying into Piers Morgan's narrative against the Sussexes. So I thought the same thing happened when I saw this. And one of our squaddies had actually said, well, how do you know it was true that she actually said that? So I appreciate that squaddie who called me out, and, it's like, it might not be true. And it turned out she was correct. So, yeah. And I'm glad that she has talked about it. Let's see. I keep saying a couple more, but I want to, as much as possible in. Joanne Baker says, to me, seeing Harry on late night show talking about his family jewels show, he thought it was a funny story. Yeah, and it's so funny when you read the Brianna Gordon's article. I actually burst out laughing because I missed it the first time I read it. Brianna, because when they did the interview was a week. It was I think it was the same day that it got leaked by the Spanish bookseller leaked it when they put it out early, and so she was talking about to him right then, and she said, although that was, he was sad about that, he was very funny, he was himself very funny, and he was trying to think of what it might, that for his frostbitten peepee, how that would translate when they translate that into another language. So they were laughing about that. So again, Harry is you wouldn't put something like that there and not know that, that people would laugh about it, because for me, that's comedy gold. That's how you break up that, because a lot of the book is so sad, and it's sad and it's heavy, and you put something like that because the absurdity of that whole story. And then he calls it, can we all send some toucher warmers? Read some toucher warmers. I mean, I never heard your pee call a toucher before. And so this whole thing is so ridiculous and funny. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I could only imagine, Harry telling that to J.R. Moringer, who is this ghostwriter, and telling him that story, and them putting that story in there. And I could just imagine them cracking up with it, because it's just so hilarious. And it's just so out there. And then I love that Elizabeth Ardern, they got, they understood the assignment, and now their cream, that Elizabeth Ardern cream that Princess Diana used to use on her lip, the sales has been going through the roof, because they understood the assignment and are advertising, for Frozen thing. I mean, it's just like, yes, that's how you do it. You don't do something stupid like TK Maxx and in New Zealand Air by like, oh no, we don't do that when you did. They are doing it, and their cream is selling at like hotcakes, because all of a sudden people like me who had no idea about this cream know about it, and people are buying it. So there you go. Thank you, Black Queen. Aw, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. As always, you always support. Thank you. Uh, CMAX says, Harry threw the pee story in there for human, I think, to show how transparent he has been. It's hilarious. And now, when I look at William Wedding and see how he's walking, I crack up. Oh, I hadn't thought to do that. I got to go back and see. Poor Harry. Oh my gosh, poor guy. His pee. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I think that would be like the most ridiculous story of the year that you just absolutely love. Oh my gosh. Barbecue says, I agree, Pedal is hilarious. Harry and his pee too funny. I am not offended. No, nobody should be offended. Harry isn't embarrassed to tell us about it. So why should we? And again, Harry is a comedian. His best friend, like James Corden, is a comedian. Tyler Perry writes comedy. It's like he's surrounded by comedy. I'm sure they're all laughing about it. Cookies and Cream said, oh, she's talking to Kids Indoor. I know it probably hurt him deeply. He never thought his family would betray in this manner in which they have. Hopefully Harry will come to terms with it and let go of them completely. And again, if you read his interview with Bjarne Gordon, that's one of the things it says. It's like he is very well aware that right now reconciliation is not, it's not. He doesn't, he knows it's his vision that it happens. But he's like, right now, they'll probably hate him right now, but maybe 10 years down the road, 5-10 years down the road, they'll be grateful for what he did. So he knows the difficulty. He knows that, there's a chance that they never will reconcile. But kudos for him for putting it out there. Oh, this is great. Chrissy and John became parents of a baby girl on the 13th of January 2023. Her name is Esty Maxine. Oh, wow. That's wonderful. That's Chrissy Teigen and John, the singer guy. I don't remember his last name. What's his name? John Legend. Oh, goodness. It's Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, because I remember she had a miscarriage and also talks about it. And so they now have a baby. And a baby, and the baby is called Esty. Oh, I love that. Esty Maxine. Very beautiful. Yeah, she went through a lot with her when she had a miscarriage as well, which she was weird because she later classified it as an abortion. It was a little bit weird and a little bit odd what happened there. There's something happened there. So, but anyway, they went through a lot with that. And so it's great to see them they have a little girl now. So cool. Kudos to them. So let's do one more before we end. Let's see. Official response. It's true. Harry loves the frostbitten story, frostbitten story, and it had me laughing. It's hard to not laugh when you read that. So yes. And again, I love his openness, his vulnerability, the ridiculousness, the love, the passion, the everything about that book has been amazing. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am hopefully gonna run off and play some tennis if the rain doesn't come coming down. But have a fantastic day. Thank you so much to our wonderful. Oh, let me take this off. Thank you, official Lauren Brown. Thank you to our wonderful, wonderful moderators who make our space wonderful and safe. Lydia, Trish, Nelly, who I didn't see today, but Karen M, Cookies and Cream, all of you, thank you so much for your amazing work keeping our space nice and fun. All of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much to Two Cents Crew who support the channel monthly. Thank you so much for your support. Again, you don't have to do any of this. Out of the kindness of your heart, you have done this, and I appreciate it. And to all of our Gold Star supporters who support us, whether, as you've seen here, donation, super thanks, super chat, super stickers, PayPal, Cash App, however you support. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We actually still do, and I haven't talked about it in a while, we do still have merch. If you are ever interested in merch, you can definitely check out the link is in our show notes. We still have our Facts and 2 Cents merch. Definitely jump on there and get some merch. That would be awesome. But thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you all. And tomorrow, tomorrow is Saturday, right? Tomorrow is Saturday. We're gonna do another one of our book clubs. We're gonna, since the majority, hopefully, those of us who are still reading, will be finished. And I know at least one person who hasn't started yet. So you might not want to come tomorrow because we're gonna be going a little bit more in depth with the book tomorrow. So you might not want to listen in tomorrow, just so it doesn't spoil it for you. But if you've done reading it and want to come and hang with us tomorrow at 12:30 for another book club, we can be chatting. We'll have the 2 Cents crew who are members. They're going to be there the first 40 minutes. Hopefully we'll have a chat, and then after 40 minutes we'll open up the platform so everyone could be a part of the chat and we can chat book, and it's all going to be about Spare and Spare only. So anyways, I love you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.